Hello Internet, I'm Firebolt.
And I'm the Orbiter.
And welcome to Breaking Bollocks, episode 12? 12.
Yes.
Before we get started, we now have merch, and we actually technically have in your time, like, pretty soon after episode 10, but this is now when we're properly announcing it on the channel, so there you go. Go over to the website and you'll find a store page.
It'll be too late for them to take advantage of the 15% off in the first 2 weeks, won't it?
Yeah, so why is that yet?
So you missed the boat there. If you'd been signed up to the website and to our Facebook page, you would have known.
Exactly. Anyway, yeah, so
there'll be offers from time to time.
On there we've got just the Breaking Dad logo and a BD logo
at the moment. But by the time you see this, there may well be more. Who doesn't want a Breaking Bollocks baby bib?
People who aren't
baby grow
parents,
or a series killer's baby grow.
Again, people who aren't parents.
Hang on. Oh yeah, you're quite right.
All babies, to be honest. Don't know why the baby would be able to buy it, but.
Speaking of which, I heard today that Mike Myers is making a fourth, another Austin Powers film. That would be 4, wouldn't it?
How is that speaking of?
Because he goes, yeah, baby.
Mike Myers is making a third baby.
And there's going to be a third Bill and Ted.
Okay. Anyway, also, in your world of publishing, well, when this is released, I will have turned 15.
I thought you were going to say 50 then.
Yeah, that's how long this is going to take to get.
You'll have turned 15 what?
Years old.
Ah, okay. And will you be any more mature?
I doubt it. Anyway, on with the show. Today we are talking about the games industry, as you can probably see from the title.
You're assuming they can read. Do they not just play games all day and watch videos or listen to podcasts?
I thought you were going to say something else then. But
oh,
that's our key demographic.
Is it?
Sure. Anyway, on with the show. Yes, the games industry. What would you like to start with?
I have no idea.
I'd like to talk about VR.
I want one of them.
One of VR.
Yeah, I want one of them.
I want a VR.
I've got a posh new Samsung Galaxy S9 phone, and I want a Gear VR. I know it's not full Oculus, but it's run by Oculus. All the Oculus software works on it. So,
I was actually doing a bit of research on that recently because at some point when I have more money, I would like to get I'd also need the money for a decent gaming PC rather than one I've got.
Maybe we should mention our Patreon page.
Yes, fund that and you will see VR videos.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. Investing in the future of your channel.
Your channel?
Yeah, well, it's for them. We do it for us, but...
Transparency. Anyway, what? It doesn't matter.
Transparent VR, that would be good. You know, you get transparent pings and stuff, but like not VR. What do they call it? Enhanced reality. Because I mean, like VR, you're in an enclosed mask thing, but enhanced reality.
What's a transparent ping?
It's a graphic. It's
PNG.
Yeah, we call them pings.
I don't call them a ping.
Well, what do you call them? Pings.
No, you call them PNG.
GIFs. You call them GIFs. You call them JPEGs. What do you do when you get to PNG?
If it has a vowel in it, then it works.
You don't call it a JPG file, do you?
No, because there's an E in there.
Originally, but the actual file extension doesn't have an E in it.
There's no I in a PNG file.
No, there's no E in a JPG file either.
Yes, there is. It's JPEG. Because there's an E there.
Actually, we've got a graphics designer in the room. Was there originally a JPEG file? I know JPEG is the... or has it always been just JPG?
They are often called JPEG with an E. I think Adobe call them that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you don't, like, if you're referencing a file that hasn't got the E in it, you don't say JPG, do you? You say JPEG still.
Yeah, because
just a
that's
shortened
what
version.
the long version is. There's no long version of PNG that has
Okay.
an I in it.
Right.
Is
Yeah,
there?
but
We're-
then we say JPEG, but it JPEG, but it can also be JPG or just JPE.
Ooh, that confuses things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And a
Maybe,
PNG
would you
is
call
a
them
PNG
japes?
or a PNS?
Exactly. There's no I there. Do you call it a puns?
Okay, well, I think this should go to a vote from the viewers. I think we should put a poll out there. Who out there calls them pings?
Well, half of them are my friends, so they're probably going to vote for you.
Well, there you go then.
I have to say I call them PNGs.
Yeah, the graphics designer calls it a PNG, so you're wrong.
I just made you a cup of tea as well.
Anyway, yeah, VR. I was doing a bit of research on whether the Vive or the Oculus was better, and well, I'll pull up the article I was looking at.
If the past is anything to go by, the inferior format will probably win. Because VHS beat Betamax.
Yeah, but I don't care. I just care which is better.
Yeah. Yeah, but better in what sense? Are you talking about technically better or will be better for getting content?
The HTC Vive is a Steam thing. It's
right.
It's done in collaboration with HTC and Steam. They work together on this. And Steam has a lot of experience in games, so I expect they'll be better at
They've
getting
got
games.
a good.
They've got a good background there.
Well, they've got a good outlet for it as well.
And
software release platform.
They've made a few things for it. I think. Well, they've
Can you get
one proper
Oculus
game.
Rift stuff on Steam as well, or not?
You can get Oculus Rift stuff on Steam. It's just I think there might be exclusives. From what I could tell in here, it says somewhere that I mean, in terms of the actual sort of graphics and stuff, they're fairly equal in that sense. But from what I can tell, the main thing that sold it for me was the Vive is a little bit heavier, but that's because it's got a bunch more sensors on it, so that makes me think that the tracking's better. And that's what really matters in a VR game, I think, other than being able to actually see it enough to not hurt your eyes.
I think the cost, I mean, the thing with the Samsung Gear VR for me is that you can get one at the moment for 80 quid, the latest one. And I think that will make a big difference to the spread of VR, because if people, I mean, these are obviously going to be better devices that are tailor-made for it, but, you know, you're talking several £100, aren't you? Which most people won't be prepared to, especially on a fairly experimental level kind of platform.
But they will come down.
Yeah. But they'll only come down when the market becomes saturated enough to justify that. And I think that'll happen through the cheaper avenues being available. And I think the thing with the Gear VR as well, for me, apart from it being cheaper, is that...
What do you mean the market becoming saturated?
Well, not oversaturated. I mean, where there's enough demand.
Okay.
But the thing with the only thing that I'm slightly not so fussed with the Gear VR is that I think there's only one controller.
Yeah.
And it does. I do think it would probably need two to be.
I mean, it works all right for like some experiences, like just being able to move the stuff about in front of you without having to sit at a keyboard.
See, thinking about that, I mean, I was thinking one of the uses that would interest me would be of like the 360-degree video stuff and 3D films and stuff like that. I wonder whether that's more of a market for the sort of mobile phone lower end, and it'll be the gamers that go for the, you know, for the proper sort of expensive malarkey.
Anyway, this article on Tech Radar, it's one I'm looking at.
How does it hook up?
What do you mean?
Is it self-contained, or does it link to a PC or anything like that?
Both are linked to a PC, as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
Hang on. Oh, also apparently, Facebook are funding Oculus. which might be interesting. But Facebook haven't done much in the way of games other than the web browser stuff. So
no, but I would imagine, because they're trying to get into sort of live streaming video and all that kind of thing, and people do post videos from gigs and stuff like that. I wonder whether or not there'll be more towards like sort of live concert experiences and stuff.
But I'm more interested in the gaming, and
that's what this is about, this podcast, isn't it? So.
Yeah. So I would personally go for the Vive. But I don't think it makes that much difference.
What kind of games? I mean, I've seen some of the sort of Nerdcubed videos and stuff that you watch featuring some of this stuff, and some of it, I mean, some of it's probably quite dated now, but a lot of it was like graphics packages and stuff where you're sort of painting stuff with paint tools and things like that. And what kind of games would be best suited to VR, and what is available now?
Probably ones that do involve a more compact space, because movement in VR is always a bit glitchy. Like Bethesda, the people that make Fallout and Skyrim, fairly recently released Fallout VR and Skyrim VR, but the way that you moved in that meant that a lot of the mechanics got broken. Like, say there was a locked door, you could basically teleport through it by just poking your head through. Because that door doesn't actually exist in your world. So you can literally go through it. Yeah. But it's I think VR can get a pass in some places simply because of just how awesome it is to be in that world.
And certainly in the development phase, I mean, there'll be ways that they will.
I tell you, I do not want to play Skyrim VR because those spiders terrify me when they're on the screen. I don't want to actually fight them in front of my face. That would be terrifying.
Do you think?
I would just flail at them.
Actually,
and die.
I mean, I was about to ridicule you for that and say it's only a spider, but then I was just thinking I really wouldn't want to be peering off the edge of a building.
Oh yeah, Google Earth has a VR thingy. It's free actually, I think, if you have VR. Most people don't, but where you can literally go to the top of buildings. I mean, the modeling's a bit off because they're not going to perfectly model every single building, but it's still terrifying to just be up that high, I think.
I'm bad enough when you see them videos of engineers climbing up the antenna towers to fix something at the top, to replace a bulb or something. Or like you get these people that like balance along the edge of buildings, and oh god, it actually makes me feel physically sick watching stuff like that.
But you see, that would be the best, Frank, though. If I'd managed to get you into there somehow, pushing you off there, you would shit yourself there and then.
Why would you want me to shit myself?
Okay, well, maybe not literally. Maybe literally. I don't know how scared you really are of heights, but
it
would be hilarious. Not for you. You would be scared for life.
There must be certain things. I mean, like for instance, I know when they're designing thrill rides at theme parks, they have to take into account the physical impacts of what they're putting people through, and then they must be having to look at what kind of because a lot of people suffer from mild or even severe vertigo, which could be really quite heavily affected by confusing visual imagery going on.
Well, I think,
especially if you're stood up while you're doing it.
I think someone that was scared of that sort of thing might be wary of that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not, but you don't particularly care because you're strapped in for some. I don't get that because, like, for most people that I've met that are scared of heights, they hate roller coasters. But you're terrified of heights, and you're a fucking nutter for them.
Yeah.
What is it about that?
I don't know, but that I don't know what you'd call it, sky coaster thing that we did a few years back. That was ace. Just being like holed up 250 feet, looking straight down in a harness.
That's terrifying. I mean, you're scared of heights, but I was terrified by
It's
that.
it's the thrill of confronting your fears, but in a safe environment.
So, like, VR would work for that, though.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
you
it
know
still
that
makes me feel sick when I see somebody else doing it. But then maybe it's because I can't control what's going to happen there.
Mrs. Orbiter is gesturing her hand to pitch in.
Just say vertigo is always fear of heights. Vertigo is an illness.
No, but it can cause. Yeah, I was talking about the dizziness from.
If you couldn't hear that
balance
because our mics aren't exactly directed, she said that vertigo isn't the fear of heights.
Yeah, I mean, for vertigo, I was talking more
is
about
it acrophobia?
disorientation.
No, that's the fear of acrobats, I think. Fear of heights. This is slightly off topic from the game industry. I mean,
Oh, that would be ace though, because do you know about the Hitchcock
it is acrophobia.
technique? The Hitchcock camera technique that he kind of pioneered when he did the film Vertigo, which was done from a, sort of a high building. But if you did that in VR, that would be really freaky. Do you know the one I mean?
Yeah. Well, I haven't
It's where the
actually seen the
perspective
film.
stretches out in front of you.
Yeah.
Because they kind of pull the camera back while zooming in at the same time, at the same rate. And it just makes the perspective stretch, which really messes with your head.
Right. Quite. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. What sort of games do you like?
Well, I enjoy all sorts of games, but I mean, I did for a time quite enjoy World of Warcraft, didn't I? I was playing that for a while. I mean, I like the sort of daft sort of time wasters that you get on your phone up to a certain point, but
I always find that,
I
especially if
enjoyed
it's
Portal.
yeah, that's good. Especially if it's a free-to-play one. Often those are only daft time wasters for, like, I don't know, maybe 10-15 minutes, and then they start ramping it up so that you're already addicted.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And
the
then
thing.
try and
See,
get
I was
you to
going
buy stuff there.
This was the thing I was going to say that pisses me off about the games industry. But then you kind of the whole kind of microtransactions thing.
Paid for games are doing that, and it pisses me
Yeah, if a
off.
paid for game's doing it, that's kind of bollocks. But I mean, these ones that are on your phone that you play for free, and then you see people complaining because they can't get past a certain point, or they can't get this, that, and the other. You know, in the reviews section, it's like, oh, well, it's a really good game, but it would be much better if it was free to do all the stuff in it. It's like, well, how do you expect them to actually make a living then, and be able to afford to produce the games? But yeah, like you say, if you've already
A lot
paid
of that
for it,
stuff I expect it to just be ads.
but that was the thing that pissed me off about World of Warcraft to a certain extent, was that you're paying for the game and then you pay for the expansion packs and then you've got to pay a monthly subscription to access the server as well.
Right.
So I mean, I'd probably still do it if I had the time, but and I enjoyed the what's his name? Somebody McGee's Alice, the Alice, the freaky Alice in Wonderland ones. What? Who? American McGee's Alice. Yeah. Did you play that?
No, but I did see.
I think there's a sequel as well. Yeah,
I did
there
see
is.
you playing some of that, and it was bizarre.
Yeah, I liked that. There was a game that I really enjoyed playing. Actually, very dated now, but it was called Messiah. I don't know when it came out, but I was playing it in sort of the early 2000s.
What was it about?
You basically, the game opened with a cutscene where you're an angel being thrown out of heaven by God because God's really pissed off with you for some reason. You've been naughty. And you're this cheeky little angel that's basically telling God to fuck off, so he kicks you out of heaven and you fall to earth. And then you have the power to possess beings within the game. And you do that by flying at the back of their shoulders, and then you get into you basically, if you see like a soldier or a military person that you want to take over to achieve something, you fly at the back of their shoulders and you're possessing them, and you can be that character for a while, and you've got to do this, that, and the other. And there's one bit in it where you can't figure out what you've got to do for ages, and then you realise you've actually got to you've got to get down this drain pipe into the sewers, and you've actually got to possess a rat to get in there and get through to the other side. It's a really good game, but unfortunately it was one of those that it was absolutely impossible to beat the boss at the end, so I had to use cheat codes.
Well, when you say impossible, you mean impossible for you.
I wasn't that bad at it by then. I'd been playing for quite a lot of hours on that game by then.
To be honest, I'm not actually like great at games myself.
Yeah, it's definitely an 18 though, that one.
Yeah, that doesn't stop me.
No, I mean, it's weird, isn't it, though? I mean, you'd think the 18 games that you tend to play are the violence ones, but I was particularly saying that because there's like bits of it that take part in a strip club and stuff like that. And you tend to think of those as more kind of 18, but it's like, well, why is it more adult to see somebody take their clothes off than to blow their head off? It's like, why is that more restricted?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
weird thing. How do you think the age restrictions on games should be viewed?
That's an interesting one. Oh, I played Toontown for ages as well. Carry on. Age restrictions.
Is that fan run one still going? Do you know?
Have a look. What was it called? Toontown Rewritten.
Yeah.
What it was run by Disney for years, and it was a really quite a cult kind of followed game. It was this whole world set inside various different areas of Toontown, and then they just shut it down. And if you look it up on YouTube, actually, there's some really I don't know how much it would affect anyone who's not been in it, but there's some really upsetting scenes from the last day when the server was being shut down because... Okay, I've just had to cut out a massive spoiler for something. That's all I'm going to say. Because anyway, it was really sad at the end when they were shutting the server down because you could see the characters sort of disappearing one by one, and there were all the other characters. They'd all massed in this middle kind of playground bit in Toontown to kind of say goodbye for the last time because they thought it was just shutting down for good. But I think some of the software developers that were originally involved in coding the game were as into it as a lot of the people that subscribed to it. So they basically have done a free-to-play revival of Disney's Toontown Online. And it's ace, Toontown Rewritten. And we're going to Disney, aren't we? And they have a Toontown now. So I said we should do the dance
what?
In Toontown. The dance, when you've defeated the cog.
Oh.
It's mental.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
I used to enjoy the racing in that. Speaking of which, yes, I very much enjoy Mario Kart. And I used to play Super Mario a lot in earlier incarnations. I actually find Super Mario World really difficult, though.
I thought this was going to be more one-sided for me telling him a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the games industry. We're talking about games.
Well, that's an undeniable part of the games industry.
It is, but I thought it would be more... I thought this was going to be more about the industry itself. Do they have, like, gaming conventions and stuff, then, these games developers? They must have.
Oh, yeah. Loads.
Yeah, we should go to some.
They have the biggest one, I think, is E3.
Right.
Well, that's actually for developers, because there's like esports and stuff, but that's...
I was going to bring this up, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was something quite major along those lines around Dundee area at some point, because they have quite a developed sort of gaming thing going on there.
The guy behind DMA Design, which is now Rockstar North, I believe, DMA Design became... Was it DGA Design? I can't remember.
Because I know when I was doing my sound production
it's DMA
course,
Design.
They were doing the Avid training courses, and there were two different paths you could take. One was like for music production, but the other one was for game audio production. And you can go down to, I think it's Perth, which is near Dundee, and they host it there. They do the game audio side of it. Because it's quite a... Because was that something to do with Rockstar Games, did you say?
Yeah, well, DMA Design was the original person behind Grand Theft Auto. Later on, after a few more games, also behind Lemmings.
Yeah, and one of the...
after a few more games, they got picked up by Take-Two.
Apparently,
and became Rockstar.
The games industry sort of development is quite well funded by the Scottish government because they know that it's a strong area, over there.
Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of people, you see a fair amount of older people sort of knocking off games that aren't. I mean, they probably still play Wii games
Lemmings. I used to play
and
Lemmings.
mobile games, but then hypocritically say, "Oh, but other games aren't worth it." I don't know.
Crazy Taxi as well. I liked that. Sorry,
You're just spousing.
I know, but you're making me think of all these games that I used to really enjoy playing.
Speaking of, kind of speaking of,
I
Dara O'Brien's
8-bit, Go 8-bit.
Go 8-bit, yeah. That features a lot of older games that are just quite nice.
Yeah, the Tomb Raider sequence makes me laugh. That must be on YouTube somewhere. Because that when I see that, it makes me feel a lot better about my lack of gaming skills.
The UK TV thing probably has it in a clip somewhere.
Yeah. When you see somebody famous on TV struggling to, for a long time to pull a handle, basically, it makes me feel a lot better about some of our escapades. For those of you that are coming more from the podcast sort of end, it may be apparent already, but we do our sort of channel, if you like, on YouTube and Twitch is this podcast thing. We do a couple of IRL things in real life, this and a sort of cardboard game thing. But then the other 4 series that we do at the moment are like video gaming things. Go check them out. Subscribe on YouTube, please. Thank you. Carry on.
I don't know how many people actually are, that haven't found us through YouTube or Twitch that are listening in podcast format.
Even if you're not particularly into gaming, the focus isn't really so much on the games. I suppose it is with the review series that you do, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the ones that we do, series killers, the ones that we do together are kind of, they are just basically as ripping the piss out of each other, aren't they?
Yeah, whilst playing a game and slightly talking about the
So you don't have to really be that interested in gaming to enjoy it. But carry on.
Yeah, the way that the actual sort of industry is perceived, a lot of people sort of knock it as for children or 20-something-year-olds in their basement.
Yeah, but that's changing.
Pisses me off
greatly now. Because they're growing up. Those kids are growing up.
Yeah. And a lot of video games are now beginning to be considered art, though.
Yeah. Well, there's a great amount. I mean, essentially, a lot of really good games that come out now and have a lot of money poured into them have the same kind of production value as Hollywood films.
Yeah.
But they've just got an interactive element to them.
Which I feel it you couldn't exactly. I mean, it's quite interesting to see when games are made into movies. Either they have to change a lot of the plot or it's shit.
Yeah.
Or both. That Assassin's Creed movie I just didn't get.
What about the other way around? How successfully do you think
movie tie-ins
films can be made into games?
It depends. A lot of the movie tie-ins are shit, but then you get some really good ones like Spider-Man 2 on the PS2. I haven't played it, but I'm aware of how good it is.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's not really a tie-in, but it's using movie characters.
Or Enter the Matrix, that's good.
The Injustice, was it, that we played? That's got a lot of movie characters in it, but it's not really, I mean, it's kind of related, but and the Lego stuff as well, that kind of has movie elements to it.
But that came out long before any of the other Justice League stuff came out, so
yeah.
The only ones that had really been seen in movies for that were Superman and Batman. I don't know.
I mean, in terms of the popularity of gaming, I mean, I really like the Tron films, but you can see in the first Tron film, and you can kind of sense it in the Tron Legacy as well. Gaming was about arcades, wasn't it, really, back in the 80s?
Wait, was the first Tron film made in the 80s?
I'm pretty sure it was. We should look it up.
It's pretty good for the 80s.
Time. I know it was highly praised for...
the company called Tron.
1982.
Oh.
It was highly praised, Walt Disney, it was highly praised at the time because it was the first film to use
Maybe I'm thinking of Tron 2.
Proper CGI.
Well, Star Wars used it a fair amount.
Only in the special editions.
Oh, right.
The originals
That's the
use
only one
models
that I've
and blue
seen.
screens and all that sort of stuff.
I've never seen the original. I've only seen the
We've got them.
edition.
We've got the despecialized versions, Harmy's despecialized editions. You should watch them sometime.
Yeah, but
I believe there was talk as well of when, because now Disney have got the rights, they were going to be re-releasing the Blu-rays. There was talk that finally they may be including on the Blu-ray editions the original theatrical versions. I just get a thrill out of seeing the start of Star Wars 4, where it doesn't say Star Wars 4 A New Hope on it. It just says Star Wars, because they didn't know there were going to be any more when it came out.
on the topic of the perception of games, a lot of people who are idiots seem to blame like violence on games a lot.
Yeah.
More than anything, I think that's just another excuse by people who are gun supporters to justify why, oh, well, it's not the fact that we don't have any decent gun control, it's the fact that
for me,
this happens.
That ties into the same principle we were talking about in our drugs discussion, in that if you've got a propensity towards a particular unstable characteristic already, then it can be exacerbated by...
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you have the potential to be a psychotic killer,
Yeah.
then playing games where you psychotically kill people is going to make that worse. But
well,
I don't think it causes
I don't think it would be that much worse, to be honest. But
no, and in actual fact, it may actually relieve the symptoms to a certain extent, because you're getting some kind of cathartic release of those emotions.
I sometimes feel that.
Yeah.
That might be a worrying thing, but...
Well, yeah, I think most people that play any game where you're kind of beating anyone up or shooting anyone, you do get a bit of a kick out of it. But
it's not because you're
not
a horrible
the same
person.
No, it's because you're pretending and you know that you can do it safely. You wouldn't be doing that if you were going around with a machine gun in public shooting people.
Honest,
you wouldn't be going, yeah, take that. Fucking.
I think it's just old people not understanding that.
You're so ageist.
No, yeah, but it's often older people. Because there's a rule that Douglas Adams came up with, that if a technology is in the world when you're born, it's just a part of natural order things. It's just normal, like the internet is for me. Well, the World Wide Web.
That concept.
If anything is invented between the ages of 15 and 35, it's new and revolutionary and will change your life. If it's invented after you're 35, it's against the natural order of things.
I hope to high heaven that doesn't make sense because I don't believe in heaven. But anyway, I hope that there must be exceptions to that. There must be people who don't succumb to that, and I just hope that
there are a lot of exceptions to it. It's just in general.
Because I suppose there's a lot of resentment of the use of smartphones among the older generation, isn't there?
Yeah, but then it's like everyone's using.
Would I fit? See, when did I get my first smartphone? Which age group would I have fallen into when I got my first smartphone? I think it was probably a rough guess, maybe about 2000.
The first one came out in 2007, I think.
Did it? So it wasn't 2005 then.
No.
So I would have been over 35 then, which is the age group that it should be unnatural.
It's Douglas Adams, so it's humorous.
Yeah, but I'm just scared that I'll turn into a boring old fart. Because I don't want to. What are you laughing at? Like you sound like you already think I am.
No, you're one of the few interesting people.
Wow, that's not getting cut out. Firebolt said something nice.
You're not afraid to act a twat, so you're interesting.
Who says I'm acting?
Well, commit acts that would show you to be a twat.
I'm not embarrassed of the fact I'm a twat.
Exactly. You don't try and hide it.
Own it.
Anyway, the game this week.
Oh yeah, forgotten about that.
We slightly brushed over this with the use of microtransactions. That's what they're called when you pay for something in game that isn't the game itself or expansion and DLC, but like paying for currency in a game, that sort of thing, or paying for extra lives, whatever. Those are called microtransactions. Like I said, those are being introduced into paid for games, full price paid for games that could cost like upwards of 40 quid on
They always
release.
seem to have like a mathematically worked out system as well, whereby whatever you buy never quite gets you to the next level, if you like. So you've got to then buy more to...
That's probably because they've done a fuck ton of research into it.
Yeah.
Either that or it's just a coincidence, but I suspect it's
I
the
just
former.
found that really cynical, really. Like, but then I suppose that's just marketing, isn't it?
That's why I think indie games are getting a lot more popular, because the AAA developers, there's nowadays, I mean, you get the odd AAA game that is really quite good quality, like the recent one, God of War, that looks really good. The one with the Norse bit. Yeah, that's I've heard is a lot of praise for. And you get a few others that are quite good.
See, I didn't mind so much with World of Warcraft. I know there's a subscription thing which kind of pissed me off, but there are a lot of other microtransactions available in that way. You can buy limited edition pets and stuff like that, but they're not necessary to progress in the game or to enjoy the game. They're just like sort of extra frills that if you've got money to throw away, you can get them, you know. But a necessary expense is the monthly server subscription, which when you've already paid 40 quid for the latest expansion pack is a bit of a piss take.
I quickly look something up. How much? This is terrible Google searching.
Off of.
Shut up. There we go. Fraghero.com. You won't believe how much. Right, apparently, GTA 5 had quite a big budget, over 250 million, it's saying here, in dollars. And that they made back in pre-orders. But I'm trying to find out how much they made in microtransactions, because in microtransactions they've made $500 million.
And when was this post?
This was made in... I'm trying to find out.
Would be at the bottom. I should put the date on these articles.
Yeah, usually they have like a writer and a date, but I don't know. But yeah, whenever this was made, $500 million, which is a lot of money in microtransactions. And yeah, it's bizarre.
But then, hopefully, that won't just line the pockets of the creators. It'll help them develop GTA 6
or Red Dead 2. But yeah, that really annoys me, because I think GTA 5 is probably my favourite game, but that's mainly because of the single player, which features no necessary microtransactions. You can get extra money in there, but you really don't use the money for much other than like buying big properties. And then you can get that in like heists and stuff and investment in the stock market. But in GTA Online, just the amount that they try and squeeze you for money, because the actual missions are, you have to grind to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Do you know what grinding is?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What's the difference between grinding and farming?
Grind, basically, you have to play the missions over and over again to get a decent amount of money.
Right.
So you just find the sort of you find the quickest money for how much you find the quickest mission for how much money you're going to get, and then just play that over and over again.
There's a few other things.
If you want to get anywhere there, but that's not fun. So
yeah, you're just repeating.
Yeah. And a lot of it's just aimed at getting you to buy, well, now like yachts and your own business and your apartment sort of thing. Ridiculous amount of stuff that's just extra stuff to pay money for.
Mm.
And then, because one of the things that you can do in single player is invest money in the stock market, which sometimes has a good return, depending on how you invest it. But I noticed when I was in GTA Online that I don't think that's actually an option. Wonder why. So it got to a point where like loads of hackers were like, oh yeah, let's just hack in the money.
Well, the other thing
and
as
then
well
they got
is,
banned.
I mean, it's like the whole cryptocurrency thing, isn't it? It's like, essentially, if you're doing that, why bother doing it in a game? You know, if you're buying virtual currency to invest in a stock market in a virtual world, you might as well just use the money in the first place to invest in the real stock market.
Well, if you were buying, you probably wouldn't invest it.
Yeah.
Hang on. All of these news websites are filled with ridiculous ads, and if it like surrounds the whole thing, I accidentally click on it often. I swear that's done on purpose.
I hate it when the page leaps just as you're about to click on something as well.
Yeah. But yeah, that just pisses me off. And I think that's more a symptom of the people at the head of the company that don't really care about the actual game, rather than the people writing it and producing it, who are more, like in Rockstar, from what I can tell, Take-Two is more the money-grabbing thing, because like a year ago or something, there was a bunch of, GTA 5 was released for PC a while back now. I think 2015 actually, but eventually some mods started appearing, and they were going away for a while, and some really good mods were being made. And until last year, I think it was last year, I can't remember.
Should you explain what a mod is in case there's anyone listening who doesn't?
Basically, changing parts of the game's code whilst keeping the game actually... Basically, it's something that you can install to change how the game works in a certain way.
Another thing to look up on YouTube for an example is the Skyrim mods. Some of them are quite funny, aren't they?
Yeah, there's one in there that can change all the dragons into Thomas the Tank Engine characters.
Which is quite ace.
And whenever it roars, I think it does a little whistle. Which is... Modders have a sense of humour.
Yeah.
Basically, one of the main people that funded or helped with a lot of the modders, or did a lot of the mods himself, I can't remember his name. I should probably just Google this. Rockstar mod ban. Yeah, it'll be in here somewhere. It's returned now, the modding in GTA 5. Yeah, Open4, which was... a tool to create mods.
That's interesting.
Was taken down a while back.
Yeah, but then it says the fan reaction was fast and blistering.
Yeah, pretty much says like a week or two after. Before it, the reviews for it on Steam were overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah. And
pretty soon they got to mixed, and then I think it actually might have gotten to overwhelmingly negative.
77,000 people signed an online petition demanding the tool be restored. So they did.
Yeah.
Because that's where the money comes from. You don't want to piss the fans off, do you?
Well, I mean, whales will always... Do you know what a whale is in microtransactions?
No.
Basically, I'm assuming someone rich or someone who is very irresponsible who buys a fuck ton of microtransactions, and then like it can be upwards of £1,000 when they're doing this. Those sorts of people that just spend lots on it. I don't have the thingy for this, but I think it was in one of the podcasts, a Nerdcube thingy with his PR guy and Many a True Nerd. In one of those, they said about the top games on iTunes. I think it was Game of War is, I think it's called Game of War, Fire Age, something like that, is one of the most popular games on there. And the average amount someone spent on microtransactions there was $500.
Average?
Yeah. That is...
Jesus.
Whales are a big part in that. But,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of the smaller things.
I suppose rich people...
That's per person.
Rich people must have gaming downtime as well.
Yeah, a lot, especially if they don't actually do anything. But... So, yeah, it really pisses me off when the big AAA games introduce microtransactions to these paid-for games, because it's just the people at the top being really greedy. I mean, they're probably already millionaires, and they make millions off the actual sales, but they still just want more.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Capitalism.
Yeah, it's quite sad. But you are getting a few people who are slightly better with that. I think Square Enix, I think, are pretty alright with that. They don't tend to do microtransactions from what I've seen.
I'm not sure if I particularly... I dabbled with The Sims for a while. I'm not sure about that kind of game.
You're making it sound like a drug.
Did they do microtransactions?
Well...
They have expansion packs, don't they?
Yeah, only really that, but also, like, with Sims 4, there's a lot of, like, item packs that you can get that.
I did notice, I mean, Humble Bundle, which is a really good place for getting discounted games. I did notice one of the ones that they gave away, not sure if it was part of their monthly subscription thing, because you get a certain number a month. But they were giving away the base pack for this game. Can't remember what game it was. But then when you go and look at it, it's like there's 2 massive expansion packs that are about 40 quid each.
Yeah.
That you can get as well. So they're obviously hoping that that's just going to get people into the game enough to get them to buy the expansion packs. But I suppose that's what the expansion packs are for, isn't it? As long as you can still get a decent game experience from the base game, then...
Yeah, but I think with the sort of free-to-play games, you can't get a decent experience from the base game after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Without paying money.
So they must calculate exactly how much they need to allow you to play for free so that you can get hooked. And
it's like in a sort of tutorial, they'll say, well, for example, the Simpsons tapped out. It's like, for the first few quests, you get free donuts. Donuts are the sort of expensive currency.
Yeah.
You get free donuts for this quest, and if you cut down this bush, you get free donuts. And then soon after that, it's like, okay, no more donuts for you, and everything costs donuts.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous.
But those kind of games aren't really targeted at gamers, are they?
Well, people that do play those games are technically gamers. They're not like...
but they're not like...
They're casual gamers.
Yeah.
Filthy fucking casuals. Sorry, that's a thing in gaming.
Is it?
Apparently. So I just occasionally watch a video where they just say filthy casuals.
It kind of reminds me of 90s era people that used to wear tracksuits and go take part in football riots and stuff like that.
Isn't that chavs?
No, not really. There were casuals around about that time, I think.
Okay.
Chavs and Neds are more recent than casuals.
I still have no idea.
Games industry.
Yeah. We are slightly...
Well, I suppose in a certain
quickly
way. I was about to talk then, if you'll allow me.
Fine, go ahead. But
I suppose in a certain way, you could say we're a part of the games industry now. We do take part in it.
I have been for 10
Not
years.
just as a consumer, though.
Yeah, I suppose.
We are kind of promoters already, aren't we? In a sense.
Me more because I'm a reviewer, but...
Me more? Was that not Sheldon's mum's name?
Jesus.
Sorry.
Would you like to finish, or are you just
Well, you were about to say something when
Yeah.
I stopped you rudely interrupting.
Okay, you rudely interrupted my rude interruption.
That's what I'm here for.
Anyway,
Please go ahead.
I'm going to quickly talk about consoles. Well, PC is generally regarded to be much better. I mean, for me, my PS4 is more capable of...
You'd have to spend a lot of money, though, to get
Yeah.
one that's decent enough to compete.
But with the PS4 versus Xbox, and I guess slightly the Nintendo stuff, but there's quite an interesting thing happening there, because I generally prefer PlayStation, mainly because that's what I got first and I'm used to the controls, but also...
But historically, there's been quite a rivalry between the two systems, isn't there?
Yeah, but also when I look at it more objectively, they're quite similar. And
in my console days, I was Nintendo when I did
it was
Mario stuff.
Nintendo versus Sega then, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Sega pretty much dropped out the race.
You were either Sonic or Mario. Well, they went into software production, didn't they? They I don't know what their output is now, but they changed from the console market to the software market.
Yeah, with Sega, I think they've kind of gone a bit funny, but
yeah.
I don't know. They're only occasionally releasing a Sonic game from
Get in the game
now, I think. But I don't know. I occasionally see that logo
EA
popped
Sports
up.
in there, sorry. Getting my memes mixed up.
Okay. But yeah, generally when I look at that, I'm sort of like, well, they have similar performances. I mean, and then the things that are exclusive on Xbox are usually able to be found on PC, but for console exclusives, generally you'll find more stuff for PlayStation since Sony does more development itself.
Sony as a company tend to be more kind of geared towards keeping products in house, don't they? Certainly musically, they've been
I think
quite
because
strict with their musicians.
Microsoft owns Xbox, so they're going to put stuff on PC because they own Windows too.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
And there's a thing that Windows does that's like games for Windows Live, but I don't think anyone uses it. I don't know. I haven't heard about it for
Do tell
years.
us if you do.
Yeah. It's like Bing.
Bing pisses me off. It's like that Microsoft Edge as well. It's like, I don't want a fucking browser that takes up my whole screen, whether I want it to or not. Just let me use what I want and stop trying to foist stuff on me. Their latest updates put... I don't know what this is on my screen here, and there's extra alerts have started coming up, and it's
a task view.
No, this thing here, it's...
What?
Click on that. Task view.
Yeah, it's so that you can move
I'm taking that
the
off.
things.
Yeah, but I know how to move between. I don't need to know what I was doing yesterday.
Okay.
Right, carry on.
It's for navigation, I think.
Yeah.
But you can take that off, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Why did they take the control panel out of the main start menu as well? I've had to put that...
Yeah, that annoys me.
That's really buried deep down unless you modify it yourself.
Because I have like Bluetooth headphones, I have to click on the thingy here and then click Bluetooth to do it.
But it's
rather than
like
just,
they're treating the consumer like idiots. Like they need everything set up for them, you know.
Or anything else, I would have to go through this whole thing and find it here.
Having said that, I mean, it's a pain in the... Yeah, because I've put it there.
Oh, right.
I've dragged it out into the...
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, on mine, I haven't really.
I suppose the logic behind that is sound in that if you know what
anyway,
you're doing,
I was
you can
talking
make
about Xbox versus PS4.
Yeah, it's a conversation. It's a two-way thing.
Sorry, but recently one of the arguments I have heard for the Xbox that isn't just, oh, well, there's more people there from my friends, because that doesn't entice me at all. I don't care about people. Not in that don't take that out of context, but I don't care about playing with people I know, because most of them are dicks in real life.
You just like playing with people you don't know.
They're more of a dick online than in real life, probably. So, and that's saying something with my friends.
You have friends?
apparently. Anyway, yeah, one of the arguments I've heard for Xbox is that they're now doing not just backwards compatibility, but enhancements with backwards compatibility. This was in a NoCube video where he recommends the Xbox One. An old game on the PS2 SSX, not to be confused with the reboot. That annoys me when...
I think I played that.
Yeah.
Is that the snowboarding
You
one?
played SSX Tricky. It is a snowboarding one. They've basically done backwards compatibility with that, but also made it run a lot smoother and have better graphics.
Mm. Who was it? Is it Blizzard Battle that did something similar with? I don't know if they did it. They certainly did it with StarCraft. They did a HD re-release of stuff.
Well, they do that a lot, I think, because those are sort of online games. MMOs have... I don't know how much Blizzard does this, but sort of like weekly updates. I know Star Trek Online does that.
Mm.
Or patches, general, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So,
is there anything else?
I suspect there's an awful lot else, but
yeah, with that backwards compatibility thing, I was thinking, yeah, but with a lot of the stuff that I would want backwards compatibility for, I've already got. So I'd have to pay the price for that game on Xbox. And also the price for the Xbox itself, which is just far too much, and I prefer to be able to pay for the actual
better off
new
just
games.
Getting new games, yeah.
Because, like, PlayStation's got Uncharted 4, which I quite like.
That are actually developed to take advantage of the new console's capabilities.
Yeah. And, like I say, God of War, that's a PlayStation exclusive. Little Big Planet 3, which we played. PlayStation exclusive. No, all the Little Big Planet games, actually. Bloodborne, which we will play at some point, is a PS4 exclusive, I believe. There's a lot of exclusives there. And I just don't see Xbox offering much that I'm interested in that isn't already on PC.
Yeah. So...
what was I going to say? Hang on. I'm working out how my brain works.
You were just saying before we finished.
No, no. There was something else I wanted to talk about. I've completely lost it. Shut up.
Quote of the year.
Oh, what do you think? This isn't it, but what do you think the future of games is?
I really don't know, but are you asking what I would like the future of games to be?
Yeah. Well, generally you're a consumer, so it might go that way. A bit.
I would like to see virtual reality developed so that it's more user-friendly.
In what way?
And let's face it, we're talking about a holodeck, aren't we?
Yeah. That would be fun, but I don't know. It requires a lot of space.
Speaking of which, I mean, it's kind of related, but the technology's always been driven forward. There's an excellent podcast I listened to, the After Dark Network. They were talking about new film releases coming out and the success of Avengers Infinity War as compared to other things, and how it's going to challenge Avatar and stuff. But the thing, Avatar 2 is going to be coming out, and the thing...
Well, it was already out.
No.
It was out years ago.
Avatar 2?
I swear that was a thing.
No.
Maybe it was some knockoff, I don't know.
But the point was, the reason it did so well originally was because of the 3D aspect. That was the gimmick. And it was just emerging then, and it was done so well. But he's actually trying to develop, for the second one, he's trying to develop a glasses-free 3D. So that...
slightly on the topic of movies and games, we did say briefly about games being made into movies.
Yeah.
How much do you think that sort of works? Because you're not really a gamer, so you don't know the original stories there, usually. Unless it's something like...
I've not really...
I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I've not really enjoyed them that much.
Yeah.
There was The Hitman. That was from a game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
No, I saw that. It didn't really do much for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of them just don't...
They don't seem to have much storyline.
Well, because games can do story a very different way in a much longer format.
Yeah, yeah.
But a film has to be like roughly around 2 hours for people to actually want to go see it in cinemas. Like GTA 5, if you look online for like full playthroughs, like in a movie style, they're about 7 hours long.
Yeah.
And those are probably with a lot of edits.
Mm.
And with no failures there. But yeah, and I was thinking GTA 4 too, not 4 2, but the story in that was massively dragged out. It seemed like you were just doing a very similar thing over and over again, but in a slightly different way. I mean, I enjoyed the overall story, but with how long it took.
Super Mario Brothers film was that
was
bombed as well, didn't it?
That was crap.
Yeah.
That's actually a meme of how crap that is.
So no, I think
actually I'm gonna look this up. What? Because I think I remember the Goombas looked like really stupid in it, or were changed to be something completely different.
I think in both directions. I think
like what is that? What the fuck is that?
Goomba. Yeah, that's just wrong, isn't it? I think in both directions, it only really works if you're not trying to recreate the game.
What? Who thinks a Goomba looks like that? Look this up if you want to, but that's...
Yeah, Goomba Mario movie.
It's creepy.
I think things tend to, like Wreck-It Ralph, that kind of thing, they take the aspects of certain video games and feature them as part of a movie-type project, instead of trying to recreate the game as a movie.
Well, there are some things that could be like much more interesting with their concepts.
Yeah.
If they just focused... I mean, with that Assassin's Creed one, most of it was in the present day. By finding the actual Assassin's Creed games, the past is the only fun part. Like, the future bit is just a bit of bollocks that you have to sit through, because the future plot gets really stupid. And you can't skip it, which annoys me. I'm only interested in the past part.
Yeah.
Because that's the fun bit where you get to run around as a pirate, or in Renaissance Italy, you don't want to be fucking around in the present day. It's stupid.
Having said that, I mean, seeing...
And in the Assassin's Creed movie, there were like 2 scenes in the past, as far as I can tell.
Having said that, having seen your reviews, your series videos on Uncharted, I think it could potentially make a really good film, but it would have to be done well. And I suppose it's whether or not a film is done well, you know. You
do get some quite cinematic games, like the more recent Tomb Raider. It's just reads in a tomb.
Well, there's whole sections
Tomb Raider
of that
reboots.
Last of Us game that are very cinematic and very mature content, emotional content.
There's a fair few cinematic games, but they're quite long.
Yeah.
Which just doesn't work for movies. But for some reason...
But how much of that is interactive kind of fighting and stuff that could be condensed in a movie?
I was actually... This is not going to make much sense for podcast people, but when I edit those Uncharted things, I noticed that, well, for a few of them, I mean, my general idea was do 2 chapters per episode, but that falls apart where there's a chapter with a lot of stealth sections, because I take a while to get through those, even if I don't fuck it up that much.
Yeah.
So those sections end up being dragged out more. But if you cut out a lot of the fighting, which you could do...
Because I do find that annoying. It depends how well it's done. If I'm watching a film, it's like I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the Superman remakes. But
Man of Steel.
Could have been. I
The
just
one where
found
they-
it so boring because every 15 minutes it just like broke out into another fight, and it was like, oh right, here we go, another fight scene for 10 minutes, and then there's a little bit of plot, and then another fight starts, and you're just like, God's sake. But Avengers do that really well.
The Tomb Raider film was alright, I think. The plot in that was much better than the one in the game, actually.
But you haven't seen the original Tomb Raider film, have you, with Lara Croft?
No. I watched like the first couple of minutes, I think, and then got a bit bored. But that, I won't spoil it. Actually, I might slightly.
It's been out.
Okay, spoiler alert for the Tomb Raider film and slightly the Tomb Raider game. The Tomb Raider game it's basically about the Japanese queen,
Right.
Himiko, I think. For that, I mean, there's like whole sections of plot that were missed out in the movie. I was like, but this character, that was a really important emotional moment in the game. I was like, okay, well, that's skipped. But it still worked, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you never meet her father in the game. He's dead he doesn't even go to the island, I don't think, in the game.
I
And
don't really remember the film.
you were in a massive boat with a lot of crew, not just one guy who was a bit drunk.
Yeah.
But the conclusion with it is like the guy's part of a cult that wants to sacrifice your best friend as the vessel for this person, for Himiko, and become the queen again, and that's the only way they'll get off the island. Just quickly, how do you think that impacts the view of games?
The view. Whose view?
Well, people that don't play them.
It probably
that
doesn't do
much.
much for the people that go to see a film. It doesn't do much to entice them to play a game. But then, who are these films made for? Are they made for the gamers? I don't think it works because they're not good enough films to entice people into the games sector, and they're going to be a disappointment to the gamers who want it to be as good as the game.
A few of them work, I think.
Yeah.
But a few of them just don't really land. Because they're kind of trying to strike that balance between the actual gaming fans and people who aren't gamers.
Yeah.
Which is quite a difficult one to strike, and it just kind of goes a bit off. That Jumanji one was good, but that was
that wasn't a game.
Well, it was a reboot of the original movie, but it was based on the game, which was a tie-in of the movie.
Yeah, the movie came first.
And I played that game. It's quite good. It's like a party game thing.
All right, cool.
I mean, it's nothing like the game. It's completely different, but yeah. They sort of introduce it as an actual video game rather than a board game.
I like Zathura as well.
Anyway, we should probably be wrapping up because we've been recording for quite a bit. I've been Firebolt.
I've been the Orbiter.
And this has been Breaking Bollocks, episode 12, The Games Industry.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching. We'd really appreciate it if you support us on various things, obviously subscribing on YouTube, Twitch, following us on Twitter or Facebook. We have a Discord server that you can join and talk to us and other people, and a website where you can check out blog posts.
And obviously this isn't free for us to run, so if you'd like to support us financially, we have a Patreon page where you can donate monthly and get subscriber rewards. We also have a Stream Elements tipping page where you can make one-off donations. The links are all in the description.
Farewell.
See you next time.